Are you using the ketogenic diet to reverse medical problems? If you are, I insist you check your morning fasting glucoses to ensure that you actually are accomplishing those goals. If your blood sugar is elevated above 100, you are going to stall out. You are going to not be able to lose that weight, and those chronic problems will not reverse. Let me show you why that's happening and how to fix it. You can't talk about elevated blood sugars in the morning without mentioning the word dawn phenomenon. That dawn phenomenon comes because those elevated blood sugars were emptied from a special molecule. That molecule is a bunch of glucoses packed together. When you have too much blood sugar in your body that your body doesn't know what to use it for, it can't hang out in your blood. It must be stored. One of the places that we store that blood sugar is in strings of sugar called glycogen. Glycogen is hundreds of glucose molecules packed into a snowflake-like image of glucose. The benefit of this tightly packed glucose is that we can package it pretty quickly and we can undo it pretty quickly. This package, called glycogen, has two places that we store it. One place is your liver, and the second place is in your muscles. That tightly packaged glucose can be done really rapidly, and it can be undone really rapidly. As soon as blood sugars start to drop, the body will tap into that rapidly reversible blood sugar. If you keep eating and you fill up all of the storage where glycogen can go, the body does a second thing with the storage of that excess sugar. It turns it into fat. Making fat out of blood sugar doesn't happen nearly as fast as making glycogen, and undoing that stored fat is much harder as well. So when we see elevated blood sugars in the morning, we know that you're not going to lose weight. You're not going to have a reversal of those medical problems because you still haven't emptied all of the storage of that stored blood sugar called glycogen. Let's take a little closer look. Again, that first place of storage is done in a liver. This healthy liver has a little sprinkling of glucose because the patient has not had an abundance of glucose for many years. Most of my patients that come in wanting the ketogenic diet are not this lucky. They have elevated blood sugars that have gone on and on and on, and it's really changed what their liver looks like. Their liver is often 2 to 3 times as big as it should be, and there are parts of the liver filled with fat. Again, all of the possible places that we could store that glucose are taken up, and now we're packing fat into their liver. As we compare a healthy liver to a fat-filled liver, there's a special process that happens first thing in the morning. As you're sleeping throughout the night, your body wasn't eating glucose, it was undoing the stored glucose found in glycogen. So throughout the night, your liver donated some of the glycogen to keep your blood sugars stable. But first thing in the morning, as your part of the globe is turning and the sun is rising, there's a special signal that comes from your brain. The specific part of your brain is called the pineal gland, and it's using a hormone called cortisol. As the cortisol leaves the pineal gland and heads to a healthy liver, you'll see several glucose exit the liver and fill the blood sugars with a rise in blood sugar and then a return to normal. In a not so healthy liver, the amount of glycogen, the amount of glucose exiting the liver is much more abundant and lasts longer. So the question is, do you have a healthy liver or is it not so healthy? I contend the answer is in your morning fasting glucose. Take a look at this rise in glucose. It starts in the 70s, peaks a little above 80, and then returns to baseline. That's what happens in healthy patients. This patient has a much higher rise in glucose, bubbling that glucose over 100, and it doesn't quite return to baseline until well into the middle of the night. This patient's style of eating is typical of a ketogenic diet where there's 2 meals throughout the day. And as I ask them to improve that morning fasting glucose, I instruct them to get those meals earlier in the day. The first meal that most people move is the one that's around lunchtime. They will begin eating at first thing in the morning. And indeed, that overlap of the morning rise in cortisol as well as the first meal turns into one surge in their blood sugars. The baseline blood sugar does not return to normal. It's that second meal that really is the heart of the pathology that continues to block their inability to lose weight and that reversal of medical problems. It's only when I can get the patient convinced that moving that second meal out of the darkness and into the afternoon that their bodies will let go of the fat and they will start to reverse those medical problems again. Not only do we get the second meal around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I really encourage them to try not to eat so much at that second meal. This allows those blood sugars to return to normal, and during this drop in blood sugars is when their liver will donate all that extra glycogen storage into the bloodstream and continues to enhance their health improvement. The key to those patients improving is this extended time when they haven't eaten. And that morning rise will happen every time the sun comes up. The amount of rise in glucose will only lessen when their liver gets healthier. I don't know if you've ever had success at getting that evening meal moved into the sunlight hours, but I've really struggled with that. You want to see what I did? Check out the next video. I'll show you what we did in our family.